Hi, I'm Choirmaster Zack. Let's talk about wedding planning. Hi, I'm Choirmaster Zack, an organist and choir director with a passion for the German Baroque music of Bach and his contemporaries. Subscribe to my channel to watch me perform, as well as discuss music theory, history, and hymnody through the evolution of the Christian Church. Hi, I'm Choirmaster Zack, and I'm here to assist you with picking some music for your wedding service. Before we get started though, if you like this video, I hope that you click the subscribe button. I need subscribers to my channel, and hit the thumbs up for liking the video. Normally, I like to meet with a bride and groom several months before their wedding to help them choose music for their service that would represent both them and their faith journeys. However, due to the pandemic, I can't meet with people individually now, so this video, I am hoping, will help lead you to make choices that are good for your service. This video is for both brides and grooms. This shouldn't just be a bride's choice, but the bride and groom should sit down together and make these choices together to represent both of them. Music is extremely important in a service. A lot of people feel that music moves them and adds to the service, and so you don't want to just pick any old music for your service. However, I will be giving you just some examples of music that I've played for past services. I'm trying to keep this video very brief, and so that the examples are going to be very short snippets and not entire pieces. We'll get to the examples further in the video. This video is geared primarily toward a liturgical Christian tradition, Catholic, Episcopal, Lutheran. However, you might hear some things that you could use in your services as well. I hope that you sit down and you listen to the music and you figure out what will represent you during your service. Let's talk about the parts of a liturgical Christian service. So the parts of the service that we need to concern ourselves with are the pre-service, the entrance of the wedding party, the service of the word and the solemn vows, if chosen, communion, and then finally, the exit of the wedding party. So let's talk about the pre-service or the gathering portion of the service. This is when your guests are walking into the sanctuary of the church. Should they be greeted with silence? Should they be greeted with soft music? What type of soft music should you worry about? Should you concern yourself with the season of the church year? In this, I mean Christmas or Easter. All of these are thoughts that you could possibly represent as a bride and groom. It's fine if you say that you want silence as people enter the sanctuary. It's also fine if you want, during Christmas, some carols to be played, or Easter, some Easter hymns to be played. But we need to decide that up front. Normally, when I do a service, I play quietly from the organ console as people enter. It keeps people more silent as they sit down, more reverent in the space. It keeps talking to a minimum. However, also entering in silence and all of a sudden hearing the music begin at the entrance also will stop people from talking. Here are two examples of pre-entrance music. One is based on a Christmas carol, and that is Vaughan-Williams' Greensleeves. You might know the tune better as What Child Is This? It's a lovely piece of music that actually can be used at any time of the year. And also Handel's Minuet. Let's talk about the entrance of the wedding party. There's a lot that we can do here, and this is the big show part of the service as far as the bride and the groom goes. We could have multiple entrances. For instance, the groom and the groomsmen. The bridal party is split into bridesmaids, parents of the groom and the parents of the bride's entrance, and then the bride's entrance herself. So you have to decide whether you want multiple entrances and multiple pieces of music to represent those entrances, or if you just want one large piece of music, or perhaps you want just two pieces of music, one for everyone else and one for the bride. One of the things that you should think about, though, when you're talking about this is the length of the aisle running down the middle of the church where everyone would enter. If you're choosing a very, very long piece of music for a very small wedding party, a lot of people are going to be standing waiting for the music to end. At the same time, if you pick a very short piece of music for a very long aisle, then you might not have enough time to get everyone into the sanctuary. The other thing that you have to decide is what type of feeling do you want to represent in the entrances. For instance, do you want a more soft and reverent feel? Do you want something loud like a fanfare? Those are decisions that you have to make when you're thinking about the entrance. Here's some examples of entrance music. We could use Johann Sebastian Bach's Jesu, Joy of Man's Desiring. We could use Jeremy Clarke's Prince of Denmark's March. We could use the very traditional Mendelssohn's Wedding March, or the equally traditional Wagner's Wedding March, or we could use Handel's Hornpipe. Now, just a quick thought about those two very traditional pieces. I know certain synagogues and certain churches that do not allow Wagner's piece of music because a lot of people view Wagner as being anti-Semitic and historically incorrect. So when you're looking at music, also think about the mores and the traditions of the church where you are getting married. That's also equally important. But let's take a listen to a few of those examples. The next part where we can talk about placing music is anywhere that there is movement of personnel around the altar. For instance, there could be movement when the bride and groom go up from the lower altar to the upper altar. There could be movement where the bridesmaids go to sit down with the congregation. There could be movement where the priest or pastor comes down to greet the people. There could be a moment where the bride and groom light a unity candle or some other representation of their union. All of this can be done in silence or can be covered with a musical interlude. The same can be said for the next part of the service, which is communion. Not every bride and groom have the communion portion during their wedding, but during communion, there are a lot of spaces where the pastor or priest is performing some action at the altar that they might want to have covered with music so that there isn't silence. Once again, there is nothing wrong with having silence in a service. That can also be very referential, but perhaps you want to have something played quietly or sung to cover up that action at the altar. Some examples of this could be the Ave Maria by Schubert, or the Ave Maria by Bach, or any Ave Maria. The Lord's Prayer by Minuet, or we could pick a more secular piece that represents love in all of its purity, something like John Denver's Perhaps Love, or some other secular piece of music that represents love in its purest form. Let's take a listen to a few of those. Finally, another suggestion that I have for brides and grooms is during parts of the service that you need to cover, as we just talked about, you could also use some hymns from the hymnal and invite your guests to sing them. Some examples of hymns that you might use: Be Thou My Vision, Come Down, O Love Divine, The King of Love My Shepherd Is. Or perhaps you have a favorite hymn, or a favorite hymn of a grandparent or a parent or someone else that is close to you that you want to honor during your service. Finally, the final section is the exit of the wedding party. Now, a lot of the same pieces that we used in the entrance could be used for the exit. You have to decide whether you want a large fanfare. Are you trying to cover up a lot of commotion when you leave? You might want something more large and overwhelming to cover up that commotion. You might want a longer piece so that it is played for the entirety as your guests are leaving the sanctuary. Normally, you only need one piece of music for this exit because everyone exits together. So once again, most of those pieces that could be used as an entrance that we played at the beginning of this video can be used as an exit as well. Another note that I should make, since this is a general video, is that we need to take into account the instrument that's inside the sanctuary space. All of the examples that I have played for you here today were played on the very large Batholomay and Sons pipe organ at St. John's Lutheran Church in Richlandtown. It has several very large stops and several very bombastic reeds that you might not find on every organ in every sanctuary. And so if you want something more of a fanfare in a sanctuary that has a smaller organ, you might consider hiring some trumpeters or some other instrumentalists to augment the organ as it is being played. The same goes for singers. All of the examples that you've heard today with vocal lines, I did as an overdub from my recording equipment. I can't play and sing at the same time, so if you wanted those pieces of music sung, you might have to hire a singer as well. These are things that you need to discuss with your organist at your sanctuary. Well, I hope that this was a helpful video. I hope that you enjoyed the music. If you have any questions, put them in the comments section below. And again, please hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up button so that I can get more subscribers on YouTube. The more subscribers, the more work I can do for this channel. Thanks a lot.